So from the title of the video, you guys can see what we're going to be talking about, but I just wanted to say shout out to Geopold because he's mentioned this in a video before, so I just figured I'd go more into detail. JD Vance, the Vice President of America. When you think of him, you might think he's some beer-loving, truck-driving, trad-wife-having, devoted Christian. But looking at his before and after pictures, he genuinely looks like he transitioned. But how did we get here? We're gonna have to start from the beginning.
Rewind time.
JD Vance was born in Middletown, Ohio in 1984 to Donald Bauman and Beverly Vance. JD grew up in a split family with his parents divorcing and became closer to his maternal grandparents taking on their last name. Now, in his childhood, JD mentions in his biography that he used to question whether he was gay because he used to dislike girls and had a close bond with a male classmate. But now he seemingly opposes same-sex marriage. He went on to study a dual degree of philosophy and political science. He graduated magna cum laude and enrolled at Yale Law School, where he became the editor of the student newspaper. At Yale Law School, JD was actually open-minded, where he quote-unquote empathized with marginalized communities and also his close friend's transgender identity. He went on to get a job at Sidney Austin LLP, a law firm, before shortly quitting after 2 years to move to Silicon Valley, San Francisco. Now, if you guys didn't know, Silicon Valley is basically a safe haven for evil gay tech billionaires, and this is where JD's rebranding began. He worked with Peter Thiel. Now, Peter Thiel is the co-founder of Palantir, genuinely one of the worst companies to ever exist, and if you feel like you're being watched, it's by him. But if you think Peter Thiel met Vance for the first time in Silicon Valley, you'd be wrong. They had already met when JD was a law student. In fact, Vance met Thiel when he was giving a lecture at Yale University, calling Thiel, and I quote, possibly the smartest person he's ever met. Like, are we being for real right now? Anyway, it was no coincidence that JD ended up joining Mithril Capital, Peter Thiel's venture capital firm, in 2015, since they already had a mentee-mentor relationship going on. Now, what's suspicious about this whole arrangement is that multiple colleagues of Vance's recall him never being at the office and somehow was always traveling to promote his autobiography. This raises some questions about what Thiel's motives actually were when hiring Vance, but to find out what these were, we would have to look into Peter Thiel himself. Peter Thiel, like I said earlier, is an evil gay tech billionaire who was also unsurprisingly best buddies with Epstein. Yes, this Epstein. He also supposedly hosts his own version of exclusive gay Diddy parties and probably funds young pretty boys like
Peter Thiel is? Peter Thiel, yeah. He's a billionaire that owns Palantir. I got invited to a Peter Thiel party. You think that's going to be a Diddy party? Probably.
He's also a transhumanist and would only like a certain few of the human race to endure. Now, the deal with Peter Thiel is he directly donated $15 million to JD Vance in his 2022 Senate race, being the largest donation ever given. This means that Vance essentially owes his entire career to Thiel, and this gives Thiel a direct vessel of control within the government. It's obvious that some of the policies introduced by the Trump administration were heavily influenced by Thiel, so let's just go over a few. 1. The U.S. Army Enterprise Contract, which cemented Palantir's adoption by the military in a deal which could be worth up to $10 billion over 10 years. 2. ICE adding $30 million in Palantir's Immigration OS contract, which aims to analyze and collect immigrant data. And 3. The government's push to the adoption of private sector technology, which directly benefits companies like Palantir. From this, we can probably draw Thiel's motive, which is to use Vance as a government pawn and to piggyback off of Trump's popularity, so that he can push for policies that benefit his own agenda while regular working people have to pay the price. I mean, by now you can tell JD Vance is an absolute grifter who would do anything for money. If you do a Google search of his political agenda, you'll find something along the lines of anti-abortion, anti-gay marriage, anti-this, anti-that. Do you seriously believe this? This is the same JD Vance who used to attend parties dressed in drag. And if you still don't believe me, take a listen to the stuff JD has said about Trump in the past.
I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I'm definitely not going to vote for Trump because I think that he's projecting very complex problems onto simple villains.
Party base is somehow fundamentally flawed in a way that's unique in American political history. It's that Trump is a really bad candidate and, frankly, I think a really bad person.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. And I've noticed this willingness from people who think a lot like I do that, look, we told you so. To all these white working class voters, we told you so.
Peter Thiel even reportedly took Vance to Mar-a-Lago to try and change his view on Trump. The truth is, JD Vance saw an opportunity to climb the ranks and have what he sees as the most important, money and power, handed to him. Today, Vance tries to present himself as a relatable man of faith, speaking on behalf of working class Americans. Yet he himself comes from an elite background, attending Yale and working in in Silicon Valley. We can clearly see he either changed his views or adopted new ones to fit in with the Trump administration. For example, prior to his work as a senator, he barely talked about foreign policy, but now he's a largely known opposer of the US supplying aid to Ukraine. From this, we can gather that the timing surrounding Vance's transition to politics, coinciding with the development of his relationship with Peter Thiel, seems a little suspicious, and the way he acts and speaks seems to look entirely manufactured. Just keep this in mind, guys. Nigel Farage once said this.
No money in politics. No money if you're straight.
Right.
If you're corrupt, there's probably... Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Also, if you're still watching, my last video on the AI invasion literally got copyrighted for me showing you guys a snippet of a dumb AI song. So if you're anti-AI, please make sure to check it out. And I'll see you all next time.